Have you ever been in a situation where someone around you is bothering you, getting on your nerves to the point of almost infuriating you, and you really want to speak up, but you don't, and then you let it build up and build up and build up until the point that when you finally do speak up, you explode on them? My name is Dave Cottrell. I'm a lived experience mental health educator, and one of the key things that means is that I'm required to learn lessons from things that go wrong in my life. And here's one I want to share with you today. So in 2021, when flights had just opened up again, me and my wife were going to Prague for our wedding anniversary. And we're not sat together. She sat in the row behind me. I've got a couple next to me that are just sat there casually trying to read a book. And in front of me is a family. Now, in this family, we've got a guy with a Manchester United tattoo on his calf, so do with that information what you will. The Man United fans out there, you probably love it. But this guy is sat there with his son, who's probably about 10, I would say, and the son is listening to music on the phone, full volume, no headphones. Now, some of you at this exact point will be like, yeah, so what? Big deal. Others of you will know exactly where this is going. Now, normally, if my wife was sat next to me, this probably wouldn't irritate me to the same amount because I wouldn't be trying to read a book, I'd just chat to her, and, you know, if you're not giving it the attention, it doesn't get on your nerves nearly as much. But in this instance, I'm sat there trying to read a book, the two people next to me are sat there trying to read their book, and we're all, you know, exchanging the glances, as you do, looking at each other. And I can tell that everyone starts feeling, I wish someone would say something. I wish someone would do something. And I sat there and thought that probably I should say something. And probably if I'd have said something then, before the sort of rage began to build, I'd have probably been okay. See, the thing is, when we push aside these signals and we try and ignore them, if we're able to ignore them, fantastic. That can happen so many times. But if we're not, what happens is resentment builds inside of us. So that by the time we actually do open our mouths, we're a lot more heightened in terms of things like anger and frustration than we would have been had we have said something at the beginning. By wanting to avoid the confrontation, by not saying something in the first place, we build up that resentment, and then when the confrontation does happen, we end up in a much, much bigger one. And that's exactly what happened here. So I don't say anything, I try to go back to my book, and it's just getting more and more irritating to me. I'm reading pages, I'm rereading pages, I'm struggling to concentrate, and with everything I know from the job I do, I still can't easily change the channel on this and just let it go. And some of you are probably thinking, yeah, you shouldn't have to let it go. People shouldn't listen to music without headphones in public spaces. That's where I sit on this matter too. Let me know in the comments where you sit. But we do have to acknowledge the fact that it's not just the kid playing the music that is the problem here. Me holding on to that belief of how people should behave, and the friction between those two things is what is causing this anger and resentment to build up. So I finally decide to confront the guy. And I wish I'd have said something nice. But instead, I tap him on the shoulder and I'm like, excuse me, mate, do you think the entire plane wants to listen to your child's music? And he just turns around and looks at me. And he's like, I can't believe how rude you are. Now, hindsight is 2020, and I actually look back at this and think, I wish at that point I'd have said, mate, I think you're misunderstanding which one of us is being rude here. Although, to be fair, in the nature of this video, that wouldn't have worked either. But I'd have probably felt a little bit more satisfied. Now, thankfully, in order to do my job, I need to be a pretty decent communicator. I need to forget the concepts of who's right or who's wrong in many situations and just tackle the situation effectively. And at this point, even though I'd betrayed those skills so far, thankfully they did kick back in. At which point I said, well, I'm sorry, but we're all just trying to read here and your son's music is very distracting. Could you have him put some headphones in? At this point, the guy says to me, fine, if you ask me nicely. So I take a breath, I bite my tongue, and I say, could you please have your son put his headphones in? And he looks at me and goes, tell you what, ask me again in 5 minutes, but make sure you do it nicely. Now, trust me, I feel what you're feeling. I felt the rage, I felt it bubble up, but I decided, you know what? I want this music off. I don't want to fight with a person on a plane. I like not being on the no-flight list. So I sat back in my seat, I took a breath, and I went back to my book. Thankfully at this point, one of the air staff came up, asked the boy to turn it off because we were about to take off and we needed electronic devices off. And when it went back on, the headphones did too. So I never had to pander to this guy who, quite frankly, didn't deserve it. The rest of the flight went without a hitch. We got where we wanted to go and soon forgot about it. But as I said at the beginning of this video, it is important to me to learn lessons from these instances. And the lesson here is it doesn't matter whether the person is right or wrong. What matters is the result you want to get. A lot of you will look at this and say that child shouldn't have been playing the music in that situation in the first place. And again, I would agree to that. But by me using shame or anger or being judgy, I'm not going to get to where I want to be. Had I have taken a breath at the beginning of all of that, before the anger, before the resentment built up, I could have taken a breath and said to the guy, sorry mate, would you mind having your son put some headphones on? Just like that, nice polite tone. Now, interesting point to always remember is when dealing with difficult people, you're not always guaranteed the result. However, that would have been significantly closer to getting me what I wanted without the argument in the first place. And this is something that I take forward into everything I do now. As soon as I feel it going down that path, I ask myself the following question. Can I let this go, or will I need to confront it at some point? If I need to confront it at some point, that some point is right now, with an element of calm, whilst the emotions are running low, whilst my patience is running high. Because that will help me get through the things that I want to get through with so much less conflict.